And speaking of return engagements to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis native Larry Fitzgerald coming home, so to speak, to play in front of a lot of friends and family today, including his dad, who is a local sports editor here in the Twin Cities area. And, you know, playing at home, something that we all think is such a great thing to do on a professional level. I would imagine it's a bit more challenging than we may guess at first.
Oh, no question about it. I've had the opportunity to do that. And it's a lot of pressure because you want to perform well in front of your friends, your family, the place where you grew up. And, you know, there's enough pressure just to try to win the game, but that is some added pressure.
The Cardinals have won the toss. They elect to receive. The second year back, J.J. Arrington is back to return the kick. As Ryan Longwell gets week 12 in Minneapolis underway this afternoon. Arrington begins the return at the 1. Looking for a corner, up over the 20 and across midfield, splitting a pack. Only Longwell stands in his way. There goes J.J. Arrington. Touchdown, Arizona. A 99-yard return on the opening kick.
And you know, Matt, they always say that you can tell if a team is ready to play by how it covers the opening kickoff. And if that's any indication, the Vikings are in trouble today. They just ran down there and just ran right by him. Nobody tried to tackle him and wrap him up. He goes down there, he gets into a pile, and he just comes out the other end. You see the coverage on the left side. Guys just come down, they run into the wedge. Nobody wraps up. You see guys just running right by him, and really only one guy attempted to even make the tackle besides the kicker. And Arrington just takes it to the other side all the way for a touchdown.
The Arizona Cardinals put an exclamation point on the beginning of this one in week 12. Their first kick return for a touchdown since 2003, and Arizona's first quarter points all year.
And when you can start like this, it gives the entire team momentum and confidence, enthusiasm. Like I said, you can tell if a team is ready to play, and this really gets the whole team excited. You can see the sideline of the Cardinals, and look at Matt Leinart. That takes a lot of pressure off of him already to be playing with the lead, knowing that he's going to throw the ball all day long, and everybody's fired up and jacked up. They haven't had the lead too many times.
For J.J. Arrington, a former top choice out of Cal Berkeley, last year, the second-year pro, his first kick return for a touchdown. And as fans are still settling into their seats, they arrive inside to see a 7-0 deficit for the home Vikings.
And that really was what the Cardinals wanted to do early, is come out and start fast and get some points on the board. They've been awful in road games scoring. In their 4 road losses, they've been behind a total of 41-3 after the first quarter. So for them to come out and return that opening kickoff is big.
For the Cardinals, by the way, that first quarter touchdown, their first quarter points in their last 4 games. So a good a strong start that is for Arizona, and Rackers to kick now with a 7-0 Minnesota deficit. Beth Johnson takes the kick back across the 20, and he's tackled at the 30-yard line. That's where Brad Johnson and the Vikings offense will go to work. Well, historically, Brad Johnson has been pretty good against the Cardinal uniform, 5-0 all time. Of course, in his second stint back in Minnesota. Pretty good numbers last week in the loss versus Miami. A season-high 262 yards was not enough to curtail the losing streak as Johnson and the Vikings look to snap out of the 4-game slide today.
They just have to stop turning the ball over so much. Last 4 weeks, it's really killed them.
Chester Taylor, the back, in the eye behind Johnson. And the first play between the tackles, it is Chester Taylor breaking off an 8-yard run on Minnesota's first play from scrimmage before Orlando Huff makes the tackle.
This is what the Cardinals are going to do. Look how many guys they have already in the box. Got 7 guys there, and there's another guy, safety, that's going to come down over that slot. So their focus is stopping the run, and Chester Taylor trying to make Brad Johnson beat him. They don't think that can happen.
2 tight end formation for Minnesota on 2nd and 2. Taylor again, and he dives over the first down marker. First down Minnesota before Gerald Hayes makes the tackle. meeting the Vikings up front. They used the same lineup through the first 10 games of the season. Changes today, though, as Artis Hicks and Marcus Johnson are both down with ankle injuries. So Jason Whittle and Mike Rosenthal make their first start to the season on the right side. The Minnesota backs and receivers, no real go-to guy in the receiving corps. That's been a problem. And as a result, Travis Taylor leads the way with just over 400 receiving yards. They split Chester Taylor out wide here on 1st and 10. Here comes the Arizona blitz. Johnson ducks out of the way and has his pass caught by Travis Taylor for another Viking first down. Carlos Dansby applying the tackle for Arizona.
And this is a good job by Brad Johnson. He's going to have to slide and avoid a lot of this pressure. They bring Gerald Hayes inside and also Adrian Wilson. You see both of those guys right there. And Brad Johnson's able to just slip under Gerald Hayes and then keep his eyes down the field and find Travis Taylor. But he's going to have to do a lot of that because the Cardinals will be bringing pressure a lot.
3 receivers set on 1st and 10 now. Gerald Hayes showing blitz. So's Adrian Wilson from the safety spot. They beat it with a handoff to Taylor, and he runs for another first down. Chester Taylor, JC, has started so strong in each of the past few weeks.
He has, but this is Brad Johnson again checking off away from the blitz. Here's Adrian Wilson. He's going to come up. Brad Johnson sees it. He checks to a run play opposite of Adrian Wilson, and now they've got numbers over there, and it's a successful run. They've got to always know where number 24 is.
Already 22 yards on 3 carries for Taylor this afternoon. Back-to-back first down plays. Ball at the 31. Taylor again. Around and now between. And dancing through midfield. Across the 10 and finally tackled inside the 5-yard line. A 28-yard pickup before the ex-Viking Robert Griffith prevented the touchdown for Arizona.
And surprisingly, the Vikings come out and they run behind the right side of their line where they have 2 backups in Jason Whittle at the guard and Mike Rosenthal at the tackle. They do a good job. You're going to see the right side of your screen. Chester Taylor is going to be able to get to the edge right here and then just cut it back right here across the grain, and there's no pursuit. Look at all the white jerseys over pursuing. He cuts it back across the grain for a big gain.
Arizona spending a timeout. Minnesota on the march early in the Metrodome.
With all the running yards, look at Clancy Pendergast, the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. He's just disgusted already. Frustrated, disgusted. Everything with the way his run defense has not shown up so far.
Well, the Cardinals get a 99-yard opening kickoff return for a touchdown, and they are about to watch the Minnesota Vikings tie the score. Play action. And that one thrown incomplete. Looked like he was trying to get it to Jim Kleinsasser, the veteran tight end. 50 rushing yards in not even 4 minutes of football already for Chester Taylor. The Vikings, after that opening kick return for a touchdown, have marched 67 yards down the field, 50 of those made possible by Taylor.
And it's just missed tackles. And that's something that's been bothering the Cardinals all season long.
They'll go to the guy that brung him this far as Taylor is stopped at the goal line by Antonio Smith. Antonio Smith doing a little talking as he gets a start in place of Bertrand Berry. He and Chike O'Keefer effectively swapped sides on the Cardinals' defensive line. O'Keefer on the right side. They're hoping that that'll free him up for more sack opportunities. Only 2 sacks for the former Purdue standout and second-year Cardinal.
And one of the issues that the Vikings have in their short yardage goal line package is Tony Richardson is out. Now Jeff Dugan, a converted tight end, is now their fullback. He's not a great blocker.
Up, and did he get over? Apparently not. Chester Taylor denied the over the top. Oh boy, you know, this is exactly what the Viking faithful wanted to see early. A chance for the coaching staff to make an aggressive decision down in the red zone. The Vikings have really struggled in the red zone all year long.
And watch Chester Taylor trying to go behind Jeff Dugan. Dugan doesn't get a good block right there. And you can see here's the goal line. He never breaks that plane. He's pushed backwards. Tries to reach that ball over at the end, but it's 4th down, and you've got to go for it here if you're the Vikings.
Vikings are an NFC best 10 for 15 on 4th down. Make it 11 for 16, and on 4th and 1, Chester Taylor ties the score. A PAT away from 14 points in 5 minutes and 15 seconds in the opening quarter.
And the surprising thing to me is they continue to run to their right side behind those backups over there, like I said earlier, Whittle and Rosenthal, as opposed to going behind your big money guys, Hutchinson and Bryant McKinney on the left side.
Ryan Longwell, Mr. Automatic, punches it through, and Chester Taylor's 5th touchdown of the season has brought the Vikings back quickly. So much for your defensive struggles. Already tied 7 apiece. Well, behind Jason Whittle and Mike Rosenthal, each making their first starts of the year for Artis Hicks and Marcus Johnson, respectively, Chester Taylor ran wild in that opening possession. So J.J. Arrington back to try it again. He opened the game with a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Not so much success this time as he's tackled at the 19-yard line. Matt Leinart and the Arizona offense to work for the first time in earnest this afternoon, coming off his first career win against the Lions last week. And Leinart, for the first time as an NFL player, did not throw a pick, nor was he sacked. Certainly a big part of his success. He really spread it around nicely. Got 8 different receivers into the act a week ago.
And it really helped his confidence to get that first win. He said he started to struggle a little bit with his confidence, but after that first win, he feels good about it.
They split Edger and James out wide.
Empty backfield.
And his first pass is caught by Anquan Bolden right down the middle of the field, still on his feet, and finally tackled at the 47-yard line. A big gainer on Leinart's first attempt of the day. As the action is fast here, let's check in quickly with Chris Rose in Los Angeles for our first game break this afternoon.
Matt, I got faster action for you in the ATL. Drew Brees, 76 yards to Devery Henderson. Remember, Brees threw for 510 yards last week. He's got it going so far. Saints up 7-zip on the Falcons. Back to Matt and JC.
Saints, everybody's darling team in the NFL this year. Off to a fast start in an NFC South clash. This time James in the backfield. Leinart gets it away before the blitz gets to him, and it's complete again to Anquan Bolden. The Arizona offensive line has really changed a lot this year. 6 different combinations in 10 games. Denny Green told us yesterday he'd like to keep this group in place through the rest of the season. Backs and receivers, as we've already mentioned, Matt Leinart, he'll be spreading it around a lot today. And they hope to find one-on-ones and mismatches with Bolden and Fitzgerald primarily on the outside. A couple of completions to Anquan Bolden have started the afternoon for Leinart. Here's Edger and James for the first time today, running for a first down and finding a seam in the league's stingiest run defense. Meeting Minnesota up front, Matt Leinart's college teammate Kenichi Udeze will be coming after him today. One of only 2 defensive ends with 3 or more starts and 0 sacks. The Vikings linebacking core, strong side linebacker. There were bigger free agent signings this past offseason than when Minnesota inked Ben Lieber from San Diego, but few better. And in the secondary, rookie Cedric Griffin gets the started right corner in place of Fred Smoot. First and 10, Arizona. And the quick pass is caught by Larry Fitzgerald. The Minnesota native catches his first ball of the afternoon.
And Matt Leinart, even though he's a young guy and a rookie, he said that this coaching staff has given him the freedom to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Listen to this. You see him right there changing the play. He reads the blitz. He gets into a shotgun formation so he can get away from the pressure and just throws a quick hitch outside to Fitzgerald.
first-year quarterback with a handful of NFL starts, looking and acting very comfortable as he changes the play again. And this time, Edgerrin James is met in the backfield by Ben Lieber, Kenichi Udeza, and company. And they're saying he fumbled the football. Indeed, Vikings recover. An early turnover puts the Vikings offense back on the move.
Welcome back to Minneapolis, and turnovers have been big for the Vikings. You see the last 4 games, -7, and their record is 0-4. They've lost every one of those games. They haven't been taking it away from anybody, and it's big that they just did.
Referee Jerome Boger.
Encroachment, defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
They get the tackle, Darnell Dockett, with the encroachment call. Let's take you back to the fumble.
This is something that the Cardinals just aren't good enough to overcome. Turning the ball over, Edgerrin James has the ball there. It's just punched out by Ben Lieber. Edgerrin James can see him. He's right there in his vision. He tries to make a cut and switch the ball at the same time, and it gets punched away.
Chester Taylor already with 53 yards on the ground. Add 1 or 2 more as Antonio Smith was there to make the tackle for Arizona.
They had better block Adrian Wilson. Adrian Wilson comes often in this defense. Came again on that play and made a big hit on Chester Taylor, but Adrian Wilson, one of the best young safeties in the league, and the Vikings know that they've got to identify where Adrian Wilson is on every play.
On 2nd and 4, the quick drop by Johnson and a first down reception for Minnesota. The tight end, Jermaine Wiggins, who was the Vikings' leading receiver with season-high numbers a week ago against Miami.
Talking about Adrian Wilson, he'll line up all over the place. He'll be at the line of scrimmage. He'll line up in the deep secondary playing half the field, or he'll line up as a linebacker. So he moves all over the place. And with Burt Berry being injured, their leading sacker, Adrian Wilson, is now the next leading sacker. You can see him right there, number 24.
Taylor trying that right side again. Good for maybe 1 or 2 more. Well, the Vikings so far not afraid to run behind Whittle and Rosenthal. Again, that patched up offensive line for Minnesota. The aforementioned making their first starts of the year. It had been pointed out locally that the Vikings offensive line is the NFL's priciest. They have not, however, been without their trouble at times this year.
They're the priciest, but they haven't produced the best, and that's been a problem for them. We talked to Matt Burke, and he said there's still too many gray areas, which I don't understand being this late in the season.
2nd and 8, Johnson moving out of the pocket. Look at the veteran go. Scrambling. Not going to make anybody forget about Fran Tarkenton here, but it's good enough for a 10-yard pickup and a Vikings first down.
And you see Brad kind of giggling about that also, but the pressure's going to come off the edge. It gets picked up and allows Brad right there. Adrian Wilson, it gets picked up by Chester Taylor, allows Brad to get outside of that. Pick up a first down.
With a 15-year vet running on fresh legs, a season-long run for the Vikings QB. Time ticking at 4:29 and counting. Taylor with another seam up the middle, bouncing off tackles for another first down. Antrell Roll failed to wrap him up, and that gave him the extra couple of yards.
Listen to this hit at the end, and I think it's more Chester Taylor delivering it. That's more Chester Taylor delivering the blow there.
Chester Taylor has 512 yards after contact at the start of play today, and that was the 2nd highest total in the NFL. That last play gives you a great look as to how he gets that done.
Yeah, he's got that low center of gravity, and he runs behind his shoulder pads, and he dishes more punishment out than he takes.
Johnson flushed out again. Pass is complete to Cedric Faison. And another Minnesota first down. Orlando Huff making the tackle for Arizona.
You know, Brad Johnson has taken a lot of heat also for turning the ball over and making bad decisions. You can see today they've come out early in this game and they've given him easy throws. Get into a rhythm, get comfortable, quick throws, screen pass there, and allow him to get into a rhythm and get some confidence up. Even though he's an old veteran, the oldest starting quarterback in the league, your confidence can also, when you're playing bad, be not as high as it should be.
Travis Taylor in motion, 9 first downs already for the Vikings. And Seatric Faison this time is stuck for a loss. Good penetration by Gerald Hayes.
You can see when we look at Brad Johnson over the years, the numbers are pretty similar. The biggest difference is down here. You can see the attempts per touchdown. This year, 66 attempts per touchdown, and that's because he's not throwing the ball down the field. He doesn't have a go-to wide receiver, only has 5 touchdown passes all season long. And part of that is because he's not making good decisions, but the other part is there's nobody on the other end making plays for him.
8th play of the drive for Johnson, and this time he can't get out of harm's way. Carlos Dansby in from linebacker to stop the drive, or at least sack the quarterback mid-drive, and that backs the Vikings up to the 44-yard line.
And they were going to take a shot down the field here. You're going to see Dansby come from the inside. He's just going to come right through the middle. Comes from the edge and just loops around, and Brad doesn't have time to step up. You can see Dansby coming right there, circling inside and getting right in Brad's face. And that's been the other issue, is when they've tried to take shots down the field, they haven't had the protection.
Brings up a 3rd and long, 3rd and 22 to be exact. That's the 19th time Johnson's been sacked in the last 5+ games, and this short pass is incomplete. Tried to dump it off to Jermaine Wiggins.
Now that one was on Brad. Just rushed that throw, felt the pressure coming, just rushed that throw and didn't get enough on it.
So that'll bring out the 2nd-year punter Chris Kluwe for the first time here this afternoon. He is 1 punt inside the 20 shy of tying a franchise record. Troy Walters, the deep man for Arizona. And the Cardinals will take over at the 20 when we come back. Stay with us on Fox for Game 2, the late game of our doubleheader. A good one. The Bears versus the Patriots coming up next. And Tom Brady has had absolutely no trouble against the NFC North.
Yeah, he'll have more trouble today, I guarantee you, against that Bears defense. Might be the best defense in the league, so he'll have his work cut out for him.
The Bears can clinch the division with some help around the schedule today. Liner taking over at the 20 for Arizona. Another pass caught by Anquan Bolden and straight arming his way for some more yardage as he works on Cedric Griffin, the rookie corner. You know, for Arizona, the unfortunate turning point in their season came in Week 6. A game that many of us will remember. A 20-0 lead at halftime for Arizona, and then 24 second-half points. They lose a heartbreaker, 24-23. Devin Hester was one of the guys that stuck a knife in Denny Green that night. And after Matt Leinart engineered a drive that looked like may bring the Cardinals back, Neil Rackers missed a chip shot, and it's been all south for Arizona since. Leinart throwing for the corner and throwing it well out of bounds, intended for quote-unquote Anquan Bolden.
Like you said, Matt, it has been all south since, and this entire team is frustrated. They're disappointed. When you talk to them, to each guy, whether it's a coach, whether it's a player, you can just feel the frustration in their voice and the disappointment. And, you know, they're just trying to play this string out now. We talked to Denny about it. Obviously, there's talk about him losing his job. And he said not only him, these players are playing for their futures as well. They're all in a mode right now where they're being evaluated for next season.
47 seconds left in the opening quarter. 2nd and 10 for Leinart. And that one caught by Larry Fitzgerald for a Cardinal first down. Let's check in quickly with Chris Rose in the game break in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt, forget about Michael Vick being the coach killer. It's the Falcons defense that's killing them today. Deuce McAllister, 7th TD of the year, and the Saints up 14-0. They're still in the first. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, thanks. And Action rough in that one. Action rougher here as a roughing the passer penalty against one of the league's most penalized teams will march the Cardinals further into Viking territory.
And see, that's just a headshot right there. E.J. Henderson goes to the head of Matt Leinart right in front of. They're going to get you for that every single time, and it's frustration. The Vikings have been bringing a lot of pressure, but they haven't been able to get to the quarterback. And it's not that Matt Leinert's throwing the ball quickly. He's standing in the pocket. They're just picking up all of the blitzes.
Well, they already dislike E.J. Henderson in another city in the NFC West. He was the guy that stuck Matt Hasselbeck, and that pass is caught. A rare reception by a tight end as Adam Bergen pulls in only his 13th catch of the year, a big one, which brings the Cardinals inside the red zone.
Matt Leinert's doing a great job right now of understanding the defenses. The Vikings have been bringing a lot of pressure playing man. That time they drop off in a zone, and like you said, he throws it to a tight end, something that they very rarely do in this offense.
Cardinals on the move, and that's the end of the first quarter. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Come on.
Matt Leinart engineering another effective, impressive-looking Arizona drive. And going through his reads, now on the move. Finding an open receiver, that's Bryant Johnson, who makes the catch at the 5-yard line. Another Arizona first down. And again, Matt Leinart, as cool as can be under pressure.
And that's his M.O. Never gets rattled. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected. You can see it's good pressure here. Nobody's open down the field, and then finally it breaks down, but he just runs out of the pocket. He buys himself some more time, and then Bryant Johnson uncovers down the field.
Another first down pass by Leinart. 7 of 8 so far. 6 of the 7 completions have gone for a first down. The jump ball for Fitzgerald, who had to play defender on that attempt. Fred Smoot, the veteran corner who did not start today, had the coverage for Minnesota.
And here's where it's tough, Matt, for a team that just throws the football and not really trying to run it today. When you get into this area of the field, there's not a lot of room. So those defensive backs are going to crowd the wide receivers. There's not a lot of room for those guys to run away from anybody or separate. So now you've got to have somebody win at the line of scrimmage. And these wide receivers are big, strong guys. They're not quick guys. So look for the slot guy to make a play.
They hand it off to Edgerrin James, who gets away from one tackler and is stuck for no gain. Napoleon Harris, the ex-Raider, applied the hit for Minnesota. This has been the trouble for Arizona the last couple of years. The lowest ranked rushing offense last year. Same can be said this season. In fact, last year, had it not been for a big rushing afternoon in the season finale, they would have set an NFL futility record for the least amount of rushing yards in a 16-game season.
And it starts all up front for those guys. Their offensive line, they've had a lot of changes, but they haven't found a combination that can block in the run game.
3rd and goal. Leinart, to no one's surprise, looking to throw it again. He dumps it off, and Obafemi Ayanbadejo could not hang on.
And again, that's the trouble you have when you get into the red zone and all you're doing is throwing the ball. Somebody's got to be able to win. And like I said, these wide receivers aren't the quick guys that are going to just shake a guy at the line of scrimmage. So defensive backs are going to get their hands on him and tries to dump it off to the fullback there. And even if he would have caught that ball, he would have been short.
Leinart 7 for 10 with over 100 yards passing, but not looking pleased about the way that last drive ended. So here's Neil Rackers, who converts on his 31st consecutive field goal from 40 yards or under. And Arizona goes back on top. The Brad Childress bunch.
Look at him. He looks exactly like Brad Childress.
And I love it how when they talk to each other, they cover up their mouths with the board.
Yeah. Well, they say 2 heads are better than one. I guess in this case, there's 4 of them. 3 up top in the stands and Brad on the sideline. So between the 4 of them, you would think they'd be able to come up with some good plays.
Love it. The Neil Rackers field goal makes it a 10-7 Arizona lead. as Rackers kicks off here with 13.5 left in the half. Bethel Johnson from the end zone thinking better of a return, and the Vikings will take over at the 20. No snow on the ground, an unbelievably gorgeous, mild, late November afternoon in the Twin Cities as Brad Johnson and Chester Taylor go back to work for Minnesota's offense. Taylor stopped at the 23-yard line by Adrian Wilson. Chester Taylor, as has been the story all year, really has been the story today. And it's all about time of possession and ball control for Minnesota's offense. They've been very good in this capacity all year.
Well, they've been able to run the ball, and Chester Taylor, obviously, they're getting him going early, but they put an emphasis on having to run the ball today, control the time of possession, win that battle, and hopefully win this game. In this 4-game slide, they haven't been able to do that.
5th in the league in time of possession this year off the play action, and that pass is caught by Jeff Dugan, who had 3 receptions for 20 yards in the loss against Miami last week. Dugan in there for the injured Tony Richardson, as the Vikings continue to look for suitable fullbacks to take the place of a pretty important guy who's lost for the year.
Yeah, and Dugan is a better receiving fullback, obviously, because he's a tight end, but the blocking part is the issue, and you can see Tony Richardson right back there giving him some instructions, but that's where this running game is also lacking, is that lead blocker from the fullback position, especially in short yardage and goal line situations.
Empty backfield now. They split Muwelda Moore wide. Coverage drops off for Arizona, and the dump-off pass is caught by Jermaine Wiggins, his 2nd reception of the game. And a Minnesota first down.
This Cardinals defense, they do so many different things unconventionally. They'll have 3 down linemen, they'll have 4, 5 down linemen, but really the premise that Clancy Pendergast told us is he wants to have 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, regardless of if it's defensive linemen, linebackers, or secondary guys. He wants to have 5 guys at the line of scrimmage at every play.
Chester Taylor back in for Minnesota. Play action to Taylor, and that pass is caught by Marcus Robinson. The veteran wideout is across the 40-yard line before being stopped by Antrell Roll. Well, we talked about the Arizona turning point this year, and for Minnesota, their turning point also came in a PM game against the Patriots. The run defense looked to stop Corey Dillon and Lawrence Maroney unsuccessfully. Tom Brady had a big day, and the Pats came in here and absolutely picked apart the Vikings on the turf.
And really gave the blueprint to the entire league on how to attack this Vikings defense. They came out, no huddle situation. They spread them out. They threw the ball all over the field. That's what everybody's done since then.
Taylor changing direction, brilliantly tackled at the 50 by Orlando Huff. Another nice gainer by Chester Taylor. Chester Taylor already has more rushing yards in the first half against Arizona today than the Cardinals allowed in all of the first half to Detroit last week.
You can see again running to the right side. That time Dugan does get a good block on Orlando Huff and allows Chester Taylor just to jump back inside. But again, that right side of that offensive line, those 2 backup guys are really establishing themselves at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 3 now. The Cardinals show blitz. Here comes Adrian Wilson. He gets picked up. Man coverage down the field, and the pass is dropped by Marcus Robinson. Boy, good recovery by Antrell Roll.
Antrell Roll got a little lucky that he didn't get called for pass interference. He never turned around to look for the ball. He's in man coverage right here, and he just pressed bails. He just runs out of there. Watch at the end. You see right there the little bumping with his left hand and his body right there in the left hand. Lucky he didn't get called for pass interference. Brad wants the call, obviously. But that's something that these cornerbacks, they don't want to get these guys in one-on-one situations. They're both young guys, Antrell Roll, David Macklin, Eric Green, young guys.
They split Muwelda Moore out wide again. This one caught by Marcus Robinson, working on Roll again. You know, Antrell Roll spent some time here in the Twin Cities in the offseason training with Larry Fitzgerald. Certainly no stranger to this part of the world, but they've called his number a couple times here.
But you can see right there, when you got a young guy out there, they're going to go at him. They go at him on the deep ball on one play, so now he's thinking go route. They're going to try to run by me again. Now they just run the quick out in front of him, catch the ball for a first down, and he's too far off. What the problem with these young guys that Clancy Pendergast, the defensive coordinator, said is they just have to understand they have to play and focus every play.
Play action, the deep ball. Johnson lets it fly. More single coverage, and it's out of reach for Troy Williamson. A man who never misses. Chris Rose in Los Angeles with a game break.
That was very kind of you, Matt. Speaking of being on the mark, look at the touch by Carson Palmer to Chris Henry. That is pretty. Bengals up 14-0 in Cleveland at the start of the second quarter. Back to Matt and JC. You guys are always on the mark as well.
Chris, thanks. I know Chris Rose is watching that one, man. Those Ohio people get into that Bengals-Browns matchup. Look at the AFC North. It's Baltimore threatening to run away. Cincinnati has to be viewed as one of the more disappointing 5-5 teams this year, as Adrian Wilson is there to hit Taylor in the backfield. Perhaps a loss on the play. No gain, call it generously, and 3rd and 10 now.
And Adrian Wilson is right here. Watch him just come up. Reads the run. He beats the crack block by the wide receiver, and then he's just there to make the play. One of those guys you got to make sure that you block him. And Clancy said that they're going to use him as a decoy some today because teams identify him at the line of scrimmage and they slide their protection to him so much. Now they've got to start using him as a decoy.
10th play of the drive upcoming here on 3rd and 11. On the pump fake, and that one should have been picked off. Johnson's target fell. Robert Griffith was looking at an INT and a sizable return after Marcus Robinson hit the turf.
Robert Griffith, a longtime Viking, played 8 years here, began his career here, wants to come back and play well. Talked to him a little bit before the game, and he's more of a hitter right now. He's not the ball hawking type of safety, although he can make the interception. He really wants to hit guys, and he was thinking tackle on that play.
So Chris Kluwe on to punt as Troy Walters is deep for Arizona. And Walters will fair catch this punt at the 10-yard line. 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Arizona by a field goal. Well, a lot of football left here this afternoon, certainly, but for the Arizona Cardinals, it's been quite some time since they have won in Minnesota. You've got to go back to 1977. Off to a good start today is Matt Leinart and company. Play action, and Leinart with a little time. Flushed out, and he gets a floater away that came dangerously close to triple coverage, incomplete.
You know, with the Vikings defense being the best against the run, the Cardinals can't afford to allow themselves to be one-dimensional. And I know they wanted to come in and throw the ball a lot because that's kind of been the blueprint that the Patriots gave the league. But you still have to attempt to rush the ball. You got to keep that defense at least honest. And right now, especially backed up in your own territory, you can't just be one-dimensional. It's going to hurt them at some point during this game.
Empty backfield once again. And on 2nd and 10, Leinart steps up in the pocket, lets it go, and the pass is caught out of bounds. Or is Brian Johnson inbounds? They're going to mark him inbounds at the 38-yard line. And it all happened right in front of the Minnesota sideline.
Well, what the refs are calling it is that he was pushed out, forced out of bounds. They're saying that if he hadn't been pushed out, he would have come down in bounds. You can see he goes up to catch the ball, and then he's just forced out of bounds by Darren Sharper, the safety. And if not for that force, he would have gotten both feet in bounds.
Fans reacting to the replay here inside the Metrodome. So 1st and 10 from the 39 is where they mark it, a 28-yard pickup and a flag. Kevin Williams was moving on that line.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, it doesn't matter who's moving on that line. It goes against the Cardinals. Denny Green, not what you call sentimental about returning to the Twin Cities today, especially not with a 2-8 team and all kinds of talk floating about regarding his future in the desert. After the penalty, 1st and 15. Leinert's pass is complete. Caught by the tight end, Leonard Pope.
You know, this Vikings defense, when you look at them statistically, they're best against the run, but they're 26th against the pass. And you can see right there, but that's a little deceiving because teams don't try to run the ball against them. They just come out and they throw the ball all over the field. And when you do it that much, you're going to gain yards, and that's why they're ranked 26. But when we talked to the defensive coordinator, Mike Tomlin, he said, we're not satisfied with that. If they're going to throw it, we need to shut them down as well.
2nd and 13 now. Here comes a blitz, and Leinart dumps it off successfully to Brian Johnson. Well, let me ask you this, JC, because the last time a Vikings team was ranked #1 against the run, it was 1994. You were here. You played for that team.
Well, different systems, of course, and different personnel. That team, you know, was really built on speed, especially inside. You had guys like John Randall, you know, Culpepper, the little defensive nose tackle that went down to Tampa Bay. And here they've got those big guys inside. The Williams boys, Pat Williams, Kevin Williams, and they create a lot of havoc inside.
3rd and 9 now. And Leinart out of the shotgun. Pass is caught by Larry Fitzgerald midfield. Another Arizona first down as Leinart gets it out of hand just in the nick of time. An 18-yard pickup for Leinart and the Cardinals.
Mike Tomlin said, you know, they have given up some yards in the passing game, and he wasn't happy with that. That's the defensive coordinator right there, Tomlin. He said, hey, we don't want to be average in anything we do, and he's really cut down the package so guys understand where they're supposed to be.
Leinart out of the shotgun again, and that one caught by Anquan Bolden. You couldn't help but gather in talking to Matt Leinart as we did yesterday the sense of fun that he was about to have. Remember, throughout his college career at USC, he was never afforded the opportunity to throw it 40 times a game. Rarely did he work from a shotgun because USC had such a fine running game to balance out the passing attack.
Yeah, but he could try to play calm and cool and all he wants, but there had to be some nerves there because this is an entirely different level, and now the game plan is on him today. And really hadn't had a lot of time in this system, so there's some uneasiness there, but he's done a great job today.
Well, the Vikings have seen a little too much of Matt Leinart's left arm. They have spent a timeout. Cardinals on the march with 5:15 left in the half, and Arizona up a field goal. Matt Leinart, 165 yards in the air and 5 straight completions so far on this drive. Second and 3. No such thing as a running down for the Cardinals offense. Pass is caught. A first down completion to Edger and James. And that's 6 straight completions on the drive for Leinart.
And he's done a very good job of seeing the pressure coming, getting rid of the ball. Again, here comes E.J. Henderson again, and he just steps up and gets rid of the ball. He doesn't allow the pressure to get to him. He makes quick decisions, and that's something that a lot of young quarterbacks don't do. They hold the ball too long, but on this drive, Matt Leinart's done a great job of reading the coverage and finding his guy and getting rid of the ball.
First and 10 from the 29. Got to at least try to mix in a run occasionally. Let's check in once again with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt, let me do the honors. I'll mix in a run for you. Willis McGahee, just 1 touchdown run all season, so let's go this way, we'll go that way. We'll find the end zone for the 2nd time today. So 1 coming in, 2 today, and the Bills up 17-7 on the Jags. There's the run for you, Matt and JC.
Oh, Chris, thanks. And they'll all be watching later on tonight on Fox, the 2nd game of our doubleheader. Pats and Bears. Leinart has Fitzgerald, who looked like he'd won the jump ball, but Fred Smoot's able to bat it away.
And that's an instance there that Matt Leinart, you can see him right there. He's saying, hey, that's me. That's on me, because he's got to throw that ball out there, down the field, and give Fitzgerald a chance to make a play. Throw that ball down the field. up over the top. That ball should be coming out here. Allow Fitzgerald to make that play. You can see if it's out there, it's an easy catch. And those guys, Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden, they told him, hey, just throw it up. Even if we're covered, give us a chance to make a play.
Another whistle.
Illegal substitution, offense. Number 89 was in the hole and left to go to the sideline. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, a communication issue there, and that'll cost the Cardinals. Bring up a 3rd and 15 now for Leinart.
And this is the tough situation to be in, and nobody has a play for 3rd and 15. You got to just try to throw it up to one of those guys, Bolden, Fitzgerald, or even try to throw it to the middle of the field and let one of those guys break a tackle. But it's always tough, and now it makes it tough on the offensive linemen, because for those guys to be able to run down the field those longer routes, it takes time. And Leinert's got to drop back 7 steps, so this is a situation, I'm sure, where the defense of the Vikings will be bringing pressure.
Well, in what is regarded as one of the louder facilities in the NFL, the crowd has more or less been out of this thing ever since J.J. Arrington returned the opening kick 99 yards for a Cardinal touchdown. They start to make a little noise here on 3rd and 13. And the pass is batted away. Not quite in Neil Racker's territory is Arizona, so that'll bring on the punter, Scott Player.
And that's what defensive linemen are taught to do. When you can't get to the quarterback because he's throwing the ball so quickly, you got to get your hands up. You can see those guys are fighting, trying to get there. Then there you see big Kevin Williams. He can't get to the quarterback, but he can get his hands in the air. I'm surprised he was able to get off the ground, as big as he is, but he knocked it down.
It is, in fact, a field goal unit. Neil Rackers, who is 0 for 5 from 49 yards and out this season, make it 1 for 6 as Neil Rackers finds some distance to add to the Cardinal lead. 50-yard field goal by Neil Rackers, his longest of the season, has lifted Arizona to a 13-7 lead here at the Metrodome with 3:48 left in the first half. Bethel Johnson deep. And a fine afternoon on the road for Matt Leinart thus far. And Rackers punches it into the end zone again. Johnson will take it out this time. Across the 15 and finally shoved out of bounds around the 20-yard line. Well, the Minnesota Vikings have scored fewer second quarter points than any team in the NFL this year. There's a nice play on 1st down, as the reception to Chester Taylor is good for a 1st down. Chester Taylor with yet another touch en route to a career high and perhaps a new Vikings touch record this year.
Well, and that's a big concern, because is he going to wear down the second half? His numbers are down, but Chester Taylor, look at his career high is 190. Coming into today, he already had 255 touches. And so this is all uncharted water for Chester Taylor and his body.
Here he is again. And finally wrapped up at the 37-yard line. Boy, great second effort by Chester Taylor. Make it a 2nd and 3rd effort on that run.
See, this is why touches are a concern for a guy like Chester Taylor, who runs very physical. He takes a lot of punishment as well as dishes it out, but he does so much after initial contact because he keeps those legs driving and he runs. But you take a lot of shots that way, and there's a lot of concern here in Minneapolis. Will he be able to stay healthy all year?
2nd and 6, and Johnson's pass is caught. We'll see if they mark Travis Taylor's reception for a 1st down. Johnson looked like he wanted to fire off another play before the 2-minute warning.
they're not going to get it off.
It doesn't look like that's going to happen. The 2-minute warning here at the Metrodome. Vikings on the move, trailing by 6. Two minutes left in the half with Arizona on top 13-7. 1st and 10 for the Vikings from their 46-yard line. Chester Taylor, the lone back with Johnson. The hand is once again to Taylor. Tackled past the 50 as he squirts free for another couple of yards. Now Chester Taylor with the lion's share of the 86 yards on the ground for the Vikings. And just to get back to the earlier point, JC, as they hurry up now, does Minnesota. Last week against Miami, Taylor really wore down in the second half. Here he is again on the dump down pass.
And not only that, Matt, he fumbled in the fourth quarter. 2 big fumbles. One that was returned for a touchdown. And, he went through the locker room and apologized to everybody. But when you get that many touches and get worn down, that's what happens.
And the Cardinals couldn't get people off the field in time. It's been a problem for Arizona all game long.
There is no flag on the play. Arizona is called their second charge timeout. It would be a 30-second timeout.
They got the timeout called before the big tackles could find him guilty of a penalty. Well, Arizona did get the timeout called with 1:16 left before they were found guilty of a penalty, trying to get their big tackles off the field. I've never seen defensive linemen move quite that fast. Johnson has to throw it away to avoid being sacked for a loss. Carlos Dansby once again penetrated for Arizona. And a flag. No receiver in the vicinity.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 7. There was no receiver in the zone. Loss of down. 2nd down.
It wasn't number 7. It was number 14. It was Brad Johnson. He just felt the pressure. Saw the pressure coming. He's just going to throw the ball. You see the pressure comes from outside. Nobody here. He just dumps the ball there. Nobody out there.
So a long 2nd and 20 now for Johnson after the grounding penalty. They give it to Chester Taylor. Check that. It's Muwelde Moore who has checked into the game, giving Taylor a much-deserved rest before the intermission. We remind you, coming up, it's the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. You'll be along with scores and highlights, and the Fox Sports ticker will have all the latest numbers. And again, the second game of our doubleheader this afternoon, a big one. New England and Chicago. 9-1 Bears can become just the 4th team since the advent of the 16-game schedule to win a division title by its 11th game, for better or for worse. You hear all the stories around in sports, especially in baseball, when teams clinch too early. The rest of that schedule is played and you risk injury. Colts have had to deal with that the past few years in the AFC. Now, there are the numbers for Chester Taylor. 87 yards on 15 carries in the first half. On a pace to shatter Robert Smith's franchise carries record. Pass caught by Marcus Robinson, who gets out of bounds before being dragged down by David Macklin.
You hear all the boos from the Vikings fans, and that's a situation where they feel like the Vikings are too conservative, and that's something that's been a problem for this offense. Is they take the check down, they take the dump down, and gain 2 or 3 yards, and it was 3rd and 12 on that play, and now it's 4th and 7. You got to give your guys down the field a chance to make a play. The Marcus Robinsons, the Travis Taylors, give those guys an opportunity.
Well, the Vikings converted on a 4th down try at the goal line for a touchdown. 11 for 16 this year. Johnson over the middle, and the pass is caught for a 1st down. Jermaine Wiggins time rolling at 40 seconds and ticking as Johnson directs the hurry-up offense.
And he bobbled that snap there.
Was that a live football?
That was live. It looked like that could have also been a fumble.
Well, they're not going to call a booth review on that one.
Jermaine Wiggins, the tight end, has been their leading receiver the last 2 years, just runs down the middle of the field, beats Orlando Huff. And Wiggins, when you're throwing the ball quick, the tight end, especially a receiving tight end like Jermaine Wiggins, really comes in handy.
Mewelde Moore in the backfield. Jump ball. They hang it into the corner. Touchdown, Minnesota. Marcus Robinson.
That's why you give those guys a chance to make a play. We talked about it on third down, dumping the ball off. But now you give a big, tall guy like Marcus Robinson, a physical guy, a chance to make a play, and he comes up with a big catch for you and a touchdown. That's something this offense hasn't had a lot of this year, is guys down the field making a play.
Only the 6th touchdown pass by Brad Johnson. And they're going to take a look at this upstairs for quote-unquote accuracy.
But that's what they've missed. And Marcus Robinson, he's missed 3 or 4 games with the back injury, and they're glad to have him back. You see he's just pushing off. He's a physical guy. He catches that ball with 1 foot down. Did that shoulder get in? Because the other foot never hit the ground. Left foot hits the ground there. That elbow comes down also. That's a touchdown.
Well, and credit Brad Johnson for finding the mismatch. David Macklin, the right corner, giving up 5 inches to his receiver there. They're under the hood, and we'll be right back. Well, the touchdown stands, as certainly most of us thought on first look. But just to get it right, they took a look upstairs, and the call stands.
And there's that left foot, and then his left elbow also comes down. Clearly a touchdown.
Minnesota's receiving core that much healthier with the return of Marcus Robinson last week. His 4th touchdown catch of the season has put the Vikings on top for the first time this afternoon. A reminder, next Sunday, college football's greatest teams find out who they'll play in college football's greatest games. It's a live primetime special that you can only see right here on Fox, the All-State BCS Selection Show, next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox. Well, USC scored a big win yesterday against the Fighting Irish. Matt Leinart engineered a brilliant win for the Trojans against their longtime rivals last year. We asked him earlier what he thought about the men of Troy's victory yesterday. I apologize for the technical difficulty, but believe us, he was pleased about USC's win yesterday.
And thinks that they should be in the national championship game, as do you.
A little biased there, I got to say.
They've got to beat UCLA, though.
J.J. Arrington takes the kick across the 20. Arrington's already returned 199 yards for a touchdown today, and he is bumped out of bounds at the 37-yard line. So 23 seconds left in the half. Is that enough time for Leinart to try to get him into field goal range here?
Well, I think they'll take one shot, maybe run a screen, run a draw. That's typically what guys do in this situation. If they make a big play, then they'll hurry up. Then they'll try to make a couple more plays and see if they can get some points on the board. If the play's not successful, they'll just be content with running the clock out. But obviously with an empty backfield, they're going to throw the ball down the field.
This has been the story all game long. A 5-receiver set. And Leinart has to shovel it. That's a check down in the very definition of the term. Got a flag on the play.
personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 76. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Second down.
They got Deuce Latui for the roughing call.
Another USC guy, second-round pick.
And the first Arizona native drafted by the Cardinals since relocating from St. Louis. Deuce Latui has a pretty good history of he and his wife having a child and then Deuce winning the following day. Before he and his wife celebrated the birth of their first child, or right after that is, he went out and won the Orange Bowl in a national championship with USC. And then last week, his wife gave birth at 10 a.m. on game day, and the Cardinals went out and beat Detroit. So Deuce is 2-0 when his wife has a child.
Well, that means he better get back to work so they can have another one if these Cardinals get another win.
Road victories have indeed been few and far between for Arizona these days.
Unfortunately, you can't have them every week. It takes at least 9 months.
First and 21 with 15 seconds left till intermission.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And they get Milford Brown on a false start. It's the 5th penalty charge to Arizona. Well, the Vikings were the team guilty of the penalties coming into the day. Only the Cowboys more penalized than Minnesota at the start of Week 12.
Larry Fitzgerald inside.
And Fitzgerald catches the slop.
Now they're trying to hurry and spike the ball.
Time winding down. Time has expired. And that's how the first half ends here at the Metrodome. Well, Minnesota with a late touchdown earns its first lead of the half right before the teams go to the locker rooms for halftime. And though Matt Leinart has had an impressive half, no offensive touchdowns for the Arizona guys. A kickoff return run back by J.J. Arrington, 99 yards for a score. And then a couple of Rackers field goals. Let's take you back to how this game began as fans were still settling in. J.J. Arrington's first career kickoff return touchdown. Then on the very next drive, Chester Taylor bangs it in for 6. This was the touchdown we saw right before half. The jump ball catch by Marcus Robinson. And that's how Minnesota has taken a 14-13 lead at halftime in the Metrodome.
And for Arizona, defensively, their whole game plan was to stop Chester Taylor. That was their focus coming in, and they haven't done a very good job of that at all. Chester Taylor's been running up and down the field on them. Then offensively, they've been able to move the ball. Matt Leinart showing some good poise, making some good decisions, but they're not making the big play. They're not getting the ball down the field, not getting into the end zone.
Well, predictably, the Arizona offense has been an aerial attack. We'll see if that continues in the second half. Halftime at the Metrodome as we prepare for the second half. Back alongside J.C. Pearson, Matt Vasgersian. And when you look at the first half and think about how the Arizona Cardinals went about it, predictably almost, they just didn't even mess with the Vikings' top-ranked rushing defense. And Matt Leinart was throwing the ball an awful lot. And
he did a good job throwing, but they just didn't make any big plays, and they weren't consistent. And that's what happens when you're one-dimensional. They didn't attempt to run the ball. Harley only ran it a few times. And again, they put the burden on Matt Leinart. He's made a few good throws, good decisions, but they haven't been able to come up with that big play to get them in the end zone.
Well, for Minnesota, true to form, and it's something that Viking fans have seen really all year, it's been a heavy dose of Chester Taylor.
And that's what the Cardinals wanted to come in and stop. Their focus defensively was to stop Chester Taylor. They didn't do that in the first half. Chester Taylor ran for 87 yards. That really opened up the passing game and took a lot of pressure off of Brad Johnson, and they made some plays down the field, culminating with the touchdown to Marcus Robinson at the end of that first half.
Neil Racker's ready to kick it away. Bethel Johnson, the deep man once again for Minnesota, as that kick sails 3/4 of the way into the end zone. The third member of our broadcast team this afternoon in Minneapolis is Dawn Mitchell. Let's check in with her. Dawn.
Hi, guys. Why Brad Childress declined to talk to us, Denny Green said he has got to get better up front offensively. And at the last few plays of the game in the half, he said they were not playing great defensively. J.J. Arrington changed the complexion of the game. He said the fans will never be the same after that. They got to get back to it.
Well, that's the kind of fast start, Dawn, that the Cardinals really have not been blessed with a lot this year. Fast start notwithstanding, they still trail here as we start the third quarter. Brad Johnson had a good passing half. He and Leinart both holding up very well, and his first attempt in the second half is complete to Travis Taylor. Let's take a look at the complete picture in first half stats. Anquan Bolden had a game-high 62 receiving yards for Arizona. Those numbers really played out. Not a lot of rushing yards for the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, only 16 rushing yards, and that leads to time of possession for the Vikings. 18 minutes, over 18 minutes, so they're controlling the ball. They're winning the time of possession, and they're keeping that Arizona Cardinals offense on the sidelines. It's hard to score when you're on the sideline.
For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. Good day to own a quarterback playing in this one, as Brad Johnson's next offering is caught by Marcus Robinson, who beat Antrell Roll and turned it into a big gainer for Minnesota, a pickup of 22 yards.
Antrell Roll wasn't even ready at the start of this play. He thought that there was movement, and watch him. He's going to raise up. He's going to start pointing at the receiver, looking at the ref, and now they run the play. They sell him on the go route. Look, he's not even looking at Robinson. Now he's got to panic and think he's running a go route. They run that stop, and he doesn't even make the tackle.
Chester Taylor up the middle, fighting through traffic before being tackled by Carlos Dansby, a gain of 8. And we have an injured official on the play.
That doesn't look good.
Carl Madsen is the umpire, and he is the official on his back after the run play. Well, credit the Vikings training staff. They were there on top of that situation quickly.
Madsen, you can see right there coming in. That's Adrian Wilson, actually just runs right through him, trying to get to Chester Taylor. And the interesting thing about that is Darren Sharper had a similar incident last week and got fined $15,000 for pushing the umpire down. And of course, he's appealing that fine. The funny part there is Ted Cottrell is the guy that is going to hear that fine. Ted Cottrell was the defensive coordinator here with the Vikings last week, and Sharper said he saw him a couple weeks ago, so he should be cool.
Well, it looked like they patched it up there at the end of that play. Adrian Wilson got the clubhouse pat on the back. 2nd and 2 play action. Johnson is hit as he throws it wide of his intended target. Just got that pass off before being knocked down by Gerald Hayes.
Gerald Hayes is going to come from the inside right there. He's just going to come right through the middle. Actually, Gerald's on the left side, and he just comes right through on the right side of that offensive line, and nobody picks him up. Steve Hutchinson turns out. Bryant McKinney turns out. Matt Burke never sees him.
So on 3rd and 2 now, the Vikings are 2 for 6 on 3rd down today. 3rd down conversions have not been a forte of the Vikings this year, ranked near the bottom of the league. Johnson does it himself here, however. Gabe Watson made the tackle after Johnson runs for another 1st down.
And that doesn't happen very often. We saw Brad run for a 1st down in the first half. And here it's a good decision. He's not a fast guy, but there's nobody open. He knows it's third down. Instead of throwing the ball away, having to punt it, he runs it, turns it up, and tries to get the first down, and he does it.
Let's challenge our friends at Stats Inc. You know, which presidential administration was in office when Brad Johnson last rushed for 2 first downs?
Been a long, long time.
It's some time. And the slant is caught by Marcus Robinson, who is en route to a big afternoon at home. They have really picked on the right corner of the Diamondbacks as the Minnesota offense.
Of the Cardinals, exactly. Watch how he sets Macklin up. He's going to sell him outside, get his hips to turn, and then he just jumps inside of him. And the problem that the Cardinals have had with their corners is they haven't played consistently. They'll make a couple plays, but then they'll give up a big play. You saw Antrell roll, lose focus. That time Macklin just gives up too much cushion.
Chester Taylor has gone over 100 yards with this run inside the 10. Robert Griffith and David Macklin make the tackle in the Arizona secondary.
And again, watch Chester Taylor. He's just going to bounce it backside behind the left side of that line. McKinney Hutchinson just caves everybody down, and watch him come back. Bounce it back to the backside. Adrian Wilson is too far up the field. It's a huge gain.
His fourth 100-yard rushing afternoon this season. Met for no gain here as Adrian Wilson came on to make the tackle for the Cardinals, and a flag after the play.
A lot of discussion going on in there. Cardinals guys are pointing at the Vikings guys. The Vikings guys are pointing at the Cardinals guys. And still no call.
There is no foul for face mask. The defender was pulling the ball out of the runner's arm. Second down.
It's the second time today this crew has come up with a never mind after a flag.
And they said he's pulling the ball out, but did he have the face mask? Look at that. That's a face mask. He had the face mask and not the ball.
Why do you say that? Just
look at his left hand.
Came off?
No, look at the left hand of Orlando Huff. I mean, come on. Oh man.
Yeah, the helmet comes off and the guy's grabbing the mask. It's usually a pretty good giveaway. I'm no official. Pass incomplete, intended for Travis Taylor. They picked on Antrell Roll that time. So 3rd and goal now for Minnesota. This is the 10th play of the drive coming as Mewelde Moore checks into the backfield for the Vikings here. Red zone offense has really struggled. Only the Raiders have a worse red zone touchdown efficiency than the Vikings this year. But so far today, so good.
And that's because they were able to run the ball early on. Well, obviously now it's 3rd and long. They've got to throw it.
Touchdown Minnesota. Billy McMullen, his 2nd TD reception of the year. A 9-yard strike to the ex-Eagle.
Brad Johnson looks good today. He's taken a lot of heat, a lot of criticism for his play over the last 4 weeks, but today, back to the Brad Johnson of old. That wasn't Brad, though.
I love these guys up there. And the Longwell PAT makes it 21-13 Vikings. Taking a film at the Guthrie Theater tonight after the game. You have a flight to catch?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I can't get there. Maybe next time we'll stay over.
A 10-play drive culminates in a 3rd touchdown this afternoon for the Minnesota offense. J.J. Arrington takes the kick at the 9. Gets through a couple of holes and is still on his feet, twisting his way to the 42-yard line. Minnesota special teams having trouble with J.J. Arrington today. Stay with us for game 2 of our doubleheader after the Vikings and Cardinals. It's a good one. The Bears and the Patriots. The Bears, with some help, can clinch a division this afternoon. 1st and 10 for Matt Leinart. And off the play action, being flushed out of the pocket now. And that one's picked off. Dwight Smith with his 2nd interception of the year. Exactly what you were fearing, Mr. Pearson.
And that's just a bad decision by a rookie quarterback. You come out, there's nobody open. There's only 2 guys in the route down the field. They're both covered. You just throw it away.
Well, the apparent interception thrown by Matt Leinart, picked by Dwight Smith, is being challenged by Arizona. Denny Green, trying to make the case that Smith did not have possession of this while it was battling around on the ground.
And you see from that angle, it looks like that ball hit the ground. Now, of course, they've got to have conclusive evidence to show that that ball hit the ground, and that's really the best angle. This angle here, you can't really tell. Looks like from there his arms are under the ball, and he rolls over with control. But from this angle, not even this angle, the other angle, you can see that ball actually hit the ground. But again, that's a tough call to overturn because you don't have a clear-cut angle at it.
Well, Arizona has won only one of their 6 challenges this year.
There's right there, you can see that ball looks like it hits the ground. That's the only angle you have, and I don't know if that's going to be enough to overturn that call.
This is a potentially huge swing here.
Nevertheless, bad throw, bad decision.
And as you were talking about earlier, it's one of those things where, the Cardinals offense, passing every down, you're bound to run into an occasion like that.
What Matt's got to do is just take what the defense is giving him. He had a short throw that was wide open. He held on to the ball and then just threw the ball down the field. Really nobody even close to the ball besides Vikings guys.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Arizona's charge is first team timeout.
Well, it gives the Minnesota offense the football at their 46-yard line. And the first mistake made by Matt Leinart this afternoon, a potentially costly one. Each of the Minnesota scoring drives this afternoon have been impressive. Of the 3, not a one of them shorter than 9 plays. The dump off to Jermaine Wiggins and tackled shy of midfield. The last of the 3, the opening possession of the second half, 10 plays, 80 yards.
And that's something the Vikings haven't been able to do, is put consistent drives together. You can see their scoring drives there today, 9 plays, 11 plays, 10 plays. That's something they haven't been able to do, and they were missing the big play in those drives. But today they've been able to make the big plays and keep those drives going.
Johnson on 2nd and 7. And stuck before the first down line is Jermaine Wiggins on the big hit by Gerald Hayes for Arizona.
Hey, that's the way you want to go, hit somebody, but unfortunately it's way down the field past the first down markers if you're a Cardinal fan.
Indeed, Minnesota is credited with a first down. The tough yardage earned by the tight end. The 2 receivers at the top of your screen. And it's a quick pass to the slot man. Scampering for yards after the catch is Travis Taylor.
Brad Johnson, being that old wily veteran that understands defenses, he just looks out and he sees that his slot is uncovered. Look at the distance there, so he just checks and throws an alert Just a quick screen right there. Now Adrian Wilson runs right by him. Also, watch Adrian Wilson. He's looking for the block by Marcus Robinson. He's not even trying to make the tackle.
Brad Johnson up over 200 passing yards on the afternoon on play action. Into the corner, and he overthrows Marcus Robinson. Let's check in with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt and JC, you guys are going to love this. In Buffalo, special teams play, punt return by Roscoe Parrish. You're going the wrong way. How do you know which way I'm going? Well, we think he gets stopped in midfield, but look at Roscoe run, 82 yards en route to the end zone. The Bills up 10 on the Jags. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, thanks. And that's why guys don't like the fair catch. Love yards like that.
Jacksonville struggling on the road.
Johnson's pass is caught at the 20-yard line. Jim Kleinsasser with a rare reception. One of only a handful of Denny Green guys still in Minnesota.
Brad Johnson, one of the other ones. Brad today is playing very well, like the Brad Johnson of old, the guy that went to the Super Bowl, understands defenses, and if you give the guy time, he's going to throw the ball in the right place. The problem that he's had the last 4 weeks is he's been under a lot of pressure, and he hasn't had guys making plays for him down the field, catching the ball. They lead the league in drops. Today, they're catching everything he throws.
Good numbers for Johnson here mid-third quarter. And that pass is dropped.
Until then.
Chester Taylor heard the footsteps of Orlando Huff. But you put Taylor's numbers together with Brad Johnson, and you don't even need to know the score to know that good things are happening for the Minnesota offense today.
And look at Brad. Look at his pulling the trigger there. Just a little alert pass right there. And those are things with a veteran guy. He sees the defense, he understands it, and he just gets you into the right play.
So 2nd and 10 now. Jeff Dugan checking in for Jermaine Wiggins. The start of the day, the Minnesota offense had scored a combined 11 offensive touchdowns, second fewest in the NFL. 3 of them this afternoon. Pass caught by Marcus Robinson, who's had a nice day today.
And with this Arizona defense, they do so many different things, and they blitz guys from any place at any time. It leaves their corners on an island. And the problem with this defense right now is their corners aren't good enough. They're young guys. They play like they don't have a lot of confidence. They play too far off. And so Brad Johnson's just having a field day. Those guys are just running out there, turning around, and there's so much cushion, it's an easy throw and catch.
With a 3-receiver set, Johnson's pass is batted away. This time David Macklin was there to answer the bell.
And it's about time. What they do is they roll coverage to Macklin to give him some help that time, so now he can jump that route. They've run it 3 or 4 times. You can see Macklin's not really even going to backpedal. He's going to read the route. Now he wants to just jump it. You see Aaron Francisco, the safety, coming over the top. And that's the help and the adjustment that they gave to him. The problem is they can't do that every down.
3rd and 11 now from the Arizona 22. Out of the shotgun is Johnson. And with a collapsing pocket, he's hit as he throws. Penetration once again by Chike O'Keefer, who applied the hit as Johnson tried to throw that pass.
And that's what the Cardinals want to do, and that's what they plan to do, is come in and get pressure on Brad Johnson. And that's really one of the few times that they've been able to get to him. They don't get the sack, but O'Keefer forces the bad pass.
Brian Longwell now to attempt a 40-yard field goal. And the ex-Packer, former Minnesota nemesis, is up and through. The homestanding Vikings add to their lead. But Dwight Smith's interception setting up a 9-play, 32-yard drive for Minnesota. It resulted in a Ryan Longwell field goal and makes it a 24-13 lead for the Vikings. J.J. Arrington starts the kickoff return at the 10, loses his footing trying to get around the corner, and is finally brought down at the 29-yard line. Arizona trying to break out of an 11-point deficit here in the second half. Not good news for a Cardinal offense that has scored fewer points than only one other team in the NFL after the intermission this year. And Liner changing the play again. The Metrodome getting loud for one of the first occasions this afternoon. And Matt will take the check down pass to Edger and James.
You know, Matt Liner's done a good job all day throwing the ball. He's 15 of 23 passes. They've been able to move the ball down the field, but when they get to the red zone, they struggle because they haven't been able to make that big play for a touchdown, because they haven't been able to run the ball. They've been one-dimensional all day long, and when you get into the red zone, you've got to be able to run the ball because that field shrinks on it.
Last week in the win against Detroit, Arizona had 5 pass plays of 20 or more yards. Again, the big play has been without today. There's Anquan Bolden, and there's one on cue. Let's check in with Chris Rose with a game break in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt, am I about to utter Niners and playoff chase in the same sentence? Here, Alex Smith to Eric Johnson. They're up 1 in Minnesota. They could improve to 6-5 with the win. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, thanks. How about those upstart 49ers building on a 3-game winning streak in the West?
It's got to be one of the surprises, most surprising teams in the league.
After a 25-yard pass completion to Anquan Bolden. 1st and 10 for Leinart, and motion all over the place.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Second false start charge to Milford Brown.
You know, we talked about one of the surprises. The Bears have been the dominant team in the AFC, but they're the 49ers, one of the surprises of this entire season. And also the Falcons on the edge. They're losing again today. I think we can put them under here too as one of the shrinking teams.
Niners surprisingly good. Falcons surprisingly not.
And getting worse.
And that's what happens when you lose half your starting defensive unit. Leinart down the sideline. A wide open Larry Fitzgerald. Boy, what a brilliant acrobatic grab by the Minneapolis native. First down, Cardinals.
And what a great job of getting his feet in bounds. He had to go up and make the catch and had the presence of mind. Watch him. He knows he's got to get both feet in, gets that left foot down before he goes out of bounds. He knows exactly where he is on the field. 1 foot down, second one down, good catch.
Big pass plays on the drive of 25 to Bolden, and that one 22 to Fitzgerald. 1st and 10. They'll try it on the ground here with Edger and James. Tackled for a loss by Antoine Winfield. You know, we talk about Larry Fitzgerald being from the area. He's left roughly 60 tickets on the pass list here this afternoon. At the Academy of the Holy Angels High School in Minneapolis, he was a 2-way outstanding performer before going on to a great collegiate career. Of course, grew up here as a ball boy under Denny Green's Viking teams and learned a lot from the likes of Chris Carter and company. His dad, Larry Fitzgerald Sr., still a sports editor and part-time radio talk show host here in the Twin Cities. Leinart hit as he throws, has that one complete once again to Fitzgerald. Fred Smoot had the coverage for Minnesota.
Fitzgerald, both of these receivers are bigger guys. Larry Fitzgerald, 6'3", 226 pounds, very physical, but has great body control. He's not a guy that's just going to sprint by you. He's not a 4-3 guy. Neither is Anquan Bolden, but they run good routes, and they're so physical that you just throw the ball up there to them. They're going to out-muscle and out-physical most smaller defensive backs.
3rd and 2 here. And this is where Mike Kruzek, the offensive coordinator, wished he had more of a running game. They try it on a pitch to Edgerrin James, and he's tackled. A flag on the play.
One on each side of the field.
Offside, defense, number 93, lining up in the...
That was neutral zone, I believe. Kevin Williams guilty of the penalty for Minnesota.
And there was a flag thrown way on this side of the field, too, and I'm sure that's what they're discussing right now.
Maybe why the call was abbreviated there. A little self-censorship by this crew.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside, defense, number 93, lining up in the neutral zone. By rule, this foul is disregarded. Personal foul, crackback, offense, number 89. 15-yard penalty, replay, third down.
Boy, the Cardinals just shooting themselves in the foot. Adam Bergen got caught on the crackback block.
And the thing about that is he was on the other side of the field, opposite of where the run. There's Bergen. Right there, number 89. The run goes the other way, and you can see what is that?
What?
That's nothing there. He just falls to the ground. He doesn't even make contact with Ray Edwards.
All right, well, you know.
That's a bad call. That's as bad as they come.
Adam Bergen was wronged on that call for sure. So 3rd and long on 3rd and 17. Liner dumps it down, and Adam Bergen gets it right back on the reception. It's shy of an Arizona first down, however. Boy, the phantom call conspiring to really thwart what looked like an effective drive by the Cardinals. And now they'll bring on their field goal unit.
And watch him again. There's Ray Edwards, number 91. Here comes Bergen. He never even makes contact with him. Ray Edwards just jumps over him. They call him for a crackback block.
Boy.
Can't crack a guy from the front anyway.
Well, that really shut down a drive on a bad call. So it'll be a 41-yard attempt for Rackers, who hit from a season-long 50 earlier. This one, however, no good. Neil Rackers not enjoying the kind of automatic success he enjoyed during a record-setting year in 2005. But forget about the kick. It goes back to a bad call on 3rd down.
Here's the snap. Snap's good. The hold is good. He just pulls it.
So Rackers 2 out of 3 on the afternoon, and 16 of 23 for the season.
You can see Denny again just frustrated. You can't help but think when you look at Denny Green and his frustration, go back to that Bears game after that and that blow up he had.
Well, the Bears were who he thought they were. And, you know, Denny has put on an amazingly positive public face during this very difficult season, but you got to believe there's something brewing underneath.
Has to be.
Beginning in January, Fox will be the new home to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, the Allstate Sugar Bowl, as well as the new Tostitos BCS National Championship game. College football's biggest games are coming to Fox beginning January 2007.
And Matt, you be doing the Orange Bowl. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be at home watching you.
You gonna watch me?
Just kick me to the curb, huh?
Yeah, you know.
Just big time me. You just go do your own thing.
Well, I told everybody, so you got to give me some of the work rate. Johnson is wrapped up. And a whistle before he has to hit the turf. Carlos Dansby had the penetration for Arizona.
I want you to know my back is hurting a little bit, too. You get a little heavy at times.
Even those rubber knives kind of hurt, huh? All right. Time ticking away here in the 3rd quarter. Boy, and Arizona running out of time. We talked about it earlier, JC, the fact that they haven't scored a lot in the second half this year. In fact, only one team has scored fewer than the Cardinals. They get a missed field goal, helped by a bad call, and it just seems like everything's conspiring against Denny Green in his return to Minneapolis today.
It is, and they've got to do it defensively. They've got to make some stops. They've got to get the ball back to their offense. You see they rally to the ball here, but that was one of the things that Adrian Wilson told us, that defensively it's on them. They understand they've got a rookie quarterback, and they feel like they've got to win it defensively. Well, today they haven't done that.
Well, the Cardinals defense forces a 3 and out. And in fact, the first 3 and out of the football game. So Chris Kluwe will come on for just the 3rd time this afternoon. It's a wobbler for Troy Walters, who scoops it up at the 25, running backwards, now cutting it upfield. And finally tackled at the 34-yard line. A flag and a loose football. Well, Heath Farwell came up with a football. As we wait for an explanation on the penalty flag.
The flag was thrown right there. The Cardinals obviously want the ball to be down, saying he was down before that ball came out. Getting a lot of discussions today.
A lot of lengthy discussions.
A lot of huddles, a lot of discussion.
And this would certainly be the biggest special teams play for Minnesota's unit. They've struggled to cover kickoffs this afternoon. J.J. Arrington's burned him for over 180 yards on 4 kick returns. See what happens on this punt return by Walters.
And see Walters, that ball is definitely out. It comes out. I don't know if they're calling Antrell Rowe for a block in the back, but he never touches him. Again, if that is the call and if that is the discussion, it shouldn't be, because Antrell Rowe didn't block Gordon in the back.
And Charles Gordon was the guy that forced the ball free.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 21. That penalty is declined. The fumble was recovered by Minnesota. First down.
To the delight of the Vikings faithful.
It took all that time to come up with that call. I mean, the guy threw the flag. He knows what he called. Make the call. That's about 3 or 4 huddles, extended huddles, that we've seen today.
Now Brad Johnson and the Vikings offense now at the Arizona 35. Another Arizona turnover. Both of them have come by the Cardinals, or 2 of them rather, here in the second half. They'll keep it on the ground. And Chester Taylor's wrapped up quickly after a gain of maybe a yard. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Minnesota on the move again. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Charles Gordon right there, number 41, made a tremendous play. He's the flyer, the gunner right here, being double teamed on one side of the field. Look at him. He runs all the way across the field after fighting the double team and forces the fumble on Troy Walters. His jersey's hanging off. He's getting beaten up by 2 guys. That is the toughest thing to do in football, is to get off of that double team. Trust me, I used to try to do it.
Yes, especially when they're both holding you.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a play. The start of the 4th quarter. And Johnson's pass is caught by Jermaine Wiggins. Now, Brad Johnson has a chance to really ice this thing down if Minnesota punches one in here, and they've been very good today at forcing turnovers.
They have, in turnover margin in the National Football League. You can see if you're -1 or worse, your winning percentages is .317. Arizona has 3 turnovers. They're -3 today, so their percentage is probably a negative right now, because you're probably not going to win the game.
Turnovers and time of possession. And how about time to throw by Johnson? That one caught by Travis Taylor for a Vikings first down.
Brad has just picked this defense apart today, especially the middle of the defense. It's just been so many holes in the zone, and when we talked to Clancy Pendergast, he said that he can't really do all the things he wants to do defensively because he doesn't want to leave his corners on an island. So he's got to play a lot of zone defenses, and when you play zone, there are always holes.
24 of 37 for 247 yards and a couple of touchdown tosses for Johnson. And not much happening that time on the ground as Taylor is wrapped up after a gain of maybe a yard. You know, Minnesota, just to continue that time of possession and that long drive story, JC, 6 of their drives this afternoon have gone at least 9 plays. They've only gone 3 and out once.
And that's big for this defense, for this offense. They've been able to get the running game going and a controlled passing attack, but then they've also been able to take some shots down the field, and that's something this offense got away from in that 4-game losing streak. They just got too conservative.
On 2nd and 9. And a flag. Now they might get Antrell Roll there as he was trying to slow down Travis Taylor.
There's no might there. They were taking another shot. They double moved Antrell Roll.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21.
Watch him.
Automatic. First down.
That out and up right there. What Antrell Roll is doing is looking at the quarterback. He's in man coverage, and he's looking at the quarterback. You can't do that. You look at the first step of the quarterback. That'll tell you if it's a 3-step drop. If it's not, you got to come right back to the receiver, get your head on him, or else you get killed on the double move like he just did.
Travis Taylor did a nice job selling it, too, with the high step. Oh, I can't move. 1st and goal now for Minnesota. The blitz is picked up. There goes Johnson off to the races again, sliding inside the 5. The suddenly mobile Brad Johnson.
Let's go back to that pass interference by Roll. Watch his head. It's always looking back at Brad Johnson. Watch the out move right here. Looking at Brad Johnson. He never looks at Travis Taylor until he turns up the field, and now he's just got to grab the guy because he guessed wrong. And that's, again, what Clancy Pendergast talked about these young guys is they don't understand fully how to play that cornerback position and what you've got to do every play in order to be consistent.
2 tight ends set now for Minnesota. And on 2nd and goal, quick pass is broken up. Orlando Huff was there to get in the way of Jermaine Wiggins. Let's get back to Antrell Roll, though. I mean, is this the story of a young corner, you know, a guy who effectively lost his entire rookie year because of the knee injury last season? Or is this something that he should have had handled upon leaving the University of Miami?
Well, no. I mean, you can't expect the college guys to understand all the nuances. In college, you can just get by with athletic ability. At this level, everybody's a fantastic talent, and you've got to understand the fundamentals and techniques of each position or you're going to get beaten.
Johnson sprung free again. Touchdown, Vikings. Jeff Dugan with the touchdown reception. And what an afternoon for the Minnesota offense. 11 offensive touchdowns all year long. 4 of them here this afternoon.
This offensive line has done a good job giving Brad Johnson time to throw the ball. And remember, they're playing with 2 new guys on that right side. They came out and established the run early and doing a good job now pass protecting.
.38 special for the 38-year-old signal caller. Brad Johnson has directed the Minnesota offense to 31 points this afternoon. That matches a season high for the Vikings. With 12 minutes of football left at the Metrodome, J.J. Arrington takes the kick across the 15, tackled shy of the 20-yard line. Matt Leinart and the offense has some work to do because today has been all about the host quarterback. I can't tell if they're big fans of I Dream of Jeannie or if they're extras from Borat.
Yeah, leftover Halloween costume.
Certainly a lot of happy Viking faithful today as they enjoy a 31-13 lead with 11:53 left in regulation this afternoon. Matt Leinart's first pass of the series is caught by Larry Fitzgerald for an Arizona first down. Part of what's developing into a very impressive half for the Minnesota native wide receiver.
They've got to get some things going offensively. They should go to their no-huddle offense. You know, try to change the tempo of the game. They can get more plays run. Obviously, 11 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. They've got to get some scores on the board. They can't afford to just slowly huddle up and call plays and get them run. They've got to get going.
Matt Leinart now 21 for 28, 272 yards in the air and a pick. And that one is caught and fumbled by Adam Bergen. Fred Smoot's in the right place at the right time. There he goes down the sideline before being knocked out of bounds.
Knocked out of bounds is correct. He took a shot over there by Nick Leckie, but another turnover. And that's haunted this team. This team is not good enough to overcome those things. And, you know, it's just one thing after another when you're the Arizona Cardinals. Good throw, good catch, but you got to hang on to the ball. Makes no sense. 4 turnovers in a game, and you wonder why you can't win a ball game. That might be a big reason why.
Ben Lieber has been the guy stripping the ball free all afternoon long. The former Charger has stepped up big here this afternoon. Vikings offense given a gift. Swing pass to Chester Taylor with nobody home. Touchdown, Minnesota.
No, he's short.
Out of bounds at the 1.
Again, it looks like this Cardinals defense they're just going through the motions right now. Now, granted, they've been put in some bad situations with all the turnovers, and they've had to play a lot of plays, but that frustration, you can just tell, is just continuing to build with this defense. They've had that, guys bickering with one another and guys bickering with coaches, coaches bickering with coaches, and things just aren't good in Arizona right now.
Richard Owens in motion. Chester Taylor from the 1-yard line. The ball is free.
It's live.
Adrian Wilson has picked it up, and there he goes, Jack Tatum style, 99-plus yards into the end zone. No flag on the play.
Wow, just when we talked about, or I talked about, this defense just going through the motions, they come up with a big hit, force a fumble on Chester Taylor, and get a 99-yard touchdown the other way.
But that'll give the columnists something to chirp about. Even if the Vikings hang on to win, Chester Taylor had 2 costly fourth-quarter fumbles last week.
And here comes the challenge. They're going to challenge this fumble. And it looks like from that angle that his knee was down before that ball came out. Now it's hard to see when that ball actually came out.
He is well buried in the pile from that shot.
But no whistle ever blew, nothing. And see right here, that ball pops out of there very late.
Yeah.
You can't see from there.
Minnesota challenged the rule on the field of a fumble.
Watch that play now.
They'll take a look and discuss. We'll be back. Well, Chester Taylor is number 1 on the list of those that hope that this whole thing is coming back.
It's going to be tough because there's really no good look at when this ball actually came out. From this angle, looks like he's down, but you don't know when the ball actually comes out. There was no whistle blown. They didn't stop the play, so obviously they thought that the ball had come out earlier. And without a better look, I don't know how they can overturn the play. Now, if they had called him down, I think it would be hard to overturn that and say it's a fumble.
Yeah.
But they called it a fumble. I don't know that they can overturn that with those looks and say that he was down.
Well, Arizona lost a challenge earlier today. Minnesota 3 of 7 in their challenges this season. And at stake is a 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown. If the play stands, it's a two-possession
After
game.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown, Arizona.
Wow!
Minnesota is charged a team timeout.
If I'd had $1 to bet, I'd have lost it. I thought that was coming back. The play on the field stands, and Adrian Wilson has returned a fumble 99 yards to make it indeed a two-possession game for Arizona.
You know, we go through this every week, Matt. Every week you question me and what I see. I told you that they couldn't overturn that, man. There wasn't enough to see there.
Well, the Cardinals are going to line up for a two-point conversion try. One of these days, I'm gonna stop challenging you.
I'm gonna have a red flag up here for myself.
This will be the first two-point conversion attempt this year for the Cardinals. Fitzgerald in the short motion
to the flat.
Leonard looking his way, changes directions and throws it through the goalpost. The Cardinals, however, have new life. After the 99-yard fumble and touchdown return, they trail by 12. Well, a missed two-point conversion after the touchdown, that would have made it a 10-point game.
It would have. And Larry Fitzgerald right here, he's doing all this twisting and turning, trying to get his man to trail him, but the Vikings, they just pass it off. So now he runs right into the guy in the flat, and they've got nowhere to go. That was big. Because like you said, it would have been a 10-point game from that point. They would have been just 2 scores back. Now they need 3. Or 2 touchdowns, I guess, huh?
Troy Williamson lets the kickoff bounce into the end zone. And in no particular hurry, the Vikings will take over at the 20. Been a nice afternoon for Brad Johnson, 26 of 40, 265 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Little over 10 minutes left on the game clock as the Vikings will no doubt revert back to what's been a very good ground game all year long to try to chew up some time. Chester Taylor over 100 yards, 112 yards today on 21 carries. Here he is again splitting the defenders, tackled just shy of a first down. Let's see if they mark it.
And now is a situation, Matt, where you got to think about maybe limiting some of his carries. Now you've got an opportunity in a game where you've got a big enough lead where you can save him a little bit. You've got Weldy Moore over there, can give him some touches and try to save that body of Chester Taylor, because if you're going to make a run at the playoffs, and let's be real, they've got to win out. I think in order to get to the playoffs, you're not going to get there at 9-7. So they've got to win out and get to 10-6 just to have a chance. You're going to need Chester Taylor the rest of the year.
And the Vikings go on the road the next couple of weeks. Certainly a tall order next week as they have to play at Chicago. Again, they keep it on the ground with time rolling at 9:15 and counting. You know, I was surprised, and you probably weren't, having played in this uniform, with all the good running back history in Minnesota, and whether it was Robert Smith gliding over the turf or Chuck Foreman sludging through the snow, that there have only been 5 running backs in franchise history to hit 1,000 rushing yards in a season. And certainly Chester Taylor is on his way to becoming the 6th. And a whistle.
False start. Offense, number 89. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Travis Taylor guilty of the false start.
You know, I talked about the Vikings having to win out, essentially, in my opinion, in order to have a shot at the playoffs. And the next one, obviously, is the biggest one. They've got to go to Chicago and got to get that win. Then they've got Detroit, the Jets, Green Bay. The rest of those are definitely winnable games. The next one, they've got to go to Chicago. They can get that win, and obviously they may have a chance to make a run.
Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage once again by Darnell Dockett is Chester Taylor. You know, your point, I agree with you, JC. I'm kind of surprised to see him not only still out there, but getting the rock as often as he is. And as we say that, here comes Weldy Moore.
Yeah, they've got to start planning for the future. Obviously, they've got to win every game. This game, they're up 31-19. You got to start thinking about limiting his carries. We already talked about he's way over his career high in touches. That body, you only have so many touches in a season, in a career.
Clock rolling at 7:40 and counting. Johnson flushed out, and the pass is caught at the sideline by Billy McMullen, who earlier grabbed his second touchdown of the season.
Brad getting up slowly there. Chased out of the pocket. You can see the Cardinals moving all around. Here comes a keeper, unblocked, and Brad just buys enough time, but then he gets slammed to the turf. And he was slow getting up. And that's another guy we talked about, Chester Taylor, not getting injured and can't afford to get him hurt. You can't have Brad Johnson injured either. He's your veteran guy that runs this ship.
Troy Walters, the return man, with Chris Bluey in the punting unit on the field for Minnesota. Walters fumbled one earlier. One of the 4 giveaways by the Cardinals this afternoon. Picks up the ground ball and is tackled at the 25-yard line. Keith Farwell has had a nice afternoon on special teams for the Vikings. We remind you, stay with us for the second half of our doubleheader on Fox NFL Sunday. Coming up, a good one between the Bears and the Patriots. Here at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome with 6:56 left on the game clock. Minnesota has capitalized on 4 Arizona turnovers. The Vikings offense has fired on all cylinders for the first time in over a month. And as a result, they have a 2-possession lead here late. Marcel Shipp is the back wolf liner here on 1st and 10.
Encroachment, defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Second time this afternoon, Kevin Williams has been flagged.
You know, Kevin Williams and Pat Williams inside. You know, it's the ultimate respect a team can pay those guys when they don't even attempt to run the ball. Cardinals have only attempted 5 rushes all day, and really it's mainly because of those 2 big guys inside.
Leinart throws a wobbler to a wide open Anquan Bolden across midfield and tackled at the 48-yard line. So the Cardinals now go into the no huddle. A 22-yard pickup. Bolden and Fitzgerald have combined to go over 200 receiving yards this afternoon. But more movement at the line of scrimmage. Kenichi Udeza came around the corner to get to Leinart, but he might have been moving a little early.
Offside, defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Indeed, it was Udeza.
Well, right now, those guys up front, it's just stat time right now. They know that they're throwing the ball. Udeza's just going to get a jump. They see him right there. They know that they're throwing the ball. There's no secret right now, especially where they are in the game. They're just trying to race up the field and get to the quarterback.
And Kenichi Udeza, let's face it, he wants to get that 0 in the sack column out of the way.
In week 11.
There have been a lot of combined penalties today. Leinart steps up in the pocket, and the pass is dropped. Tried for Adam Bergen. We mentioned next up for Minnesota, the Chicago Bears, but the second game of our doubleheader, Bears and Patriots, and the Pats are going to have their hand full.
They will. The Bears got the best record in the NFC and balanced on offense. Rex Grossman throwing the ball, Thomas Jones, Bernard Berrien, Muhsin Muhammad, and defensively, I mean, they're just dominant right now. Defensively with Brian Urlacher and those guys, they're flying around making play after play. You know, the one question I have about the Bears is can Rex Grossman really take those guys to a Super Bowl?
On 2nd and 5, a first down reception to Anquan Bolden. For the second game of our doubleheader coming up, Bears and Patriots. That game hand selected by the NFL now that we're into the flexible schedule portion of the season. Leinart out of the shotgun again. And Bolden was tied up, flag on the play. Now Fred Smoot was covering Bolden.
Fred Smoot has had his troubles also. He actually was demoted this week, lost his starting job. He's playing a lot now because they're in the nickel. But Cedric Griffin has taken over that starting right corner position because Smoot has struggled somewhat this year in coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 21, automatic, first down.
The 15th penalty of the afternoon.
Fred Smoot, a guy they gave big money to him to come over last year. Hasn't really panned out.
It's been a rough year on and off the field for Fred Smoot. First and 10 for Arizona at the Minnesota 24. And J.J. Arrington is the back with Leinart here. Matt Leinart yet to throw a fourth quarter touchdown pass this year. Flushed out. And the pass is incomplete. Intended for Bryant Johnson. Coverage by Antoine Winfield. We mentioned that the Bears-Patriots game, the second half of our doubleheader on Fox today, hand-selected by the NFL. Other great hand-picked games next Sunday, the Cowboys and Giants at 4 Eastern. Eagles and Giants the following weekend at 4 Eastern. And then on Christmas Eve, the Saints and Giants at 1 p.m. Eastern.
They like the Giants.
Apparently so.
Wow.
G-Men struggling a bit. An incomplete pass intended for Anquan Bolden.
Too high on those slants. You got to get that ball down. See Anquan Bolden, even though he's a big, strong, physical guy, he kind of short on that ball because the safety was coming right at him.
3rd and 10 now. The Cardinals needing some comeback magic to avoid losing their 31st decision in their last 34 on the road. Bolden with a great grab inside the 15 and an Arizona first down. A pickup of 12. Anquan Bolden in traffic, and he told us yesterday that's when he feels as though he's at his best.
Yeah, he likes it noisy in there. Like I said earlier, big, strong, physical guy. He likes to go across the middle, catch those tough balls, and break some tackles.
A game-high 131 receiving yards for Anquan Bolden. Leinart in trouble, and he can't step out of harm's way. Ray Edwards, the rookie end out of Purdue, came on for the sack. Jamie Mitchell also in on the loss.
Watch Anquan Bolden. He got injured on that last play. He's still hurt. He jogs off, but that's the guy Matt Leinart is looking to. That's why the ball couldn't be thrown, because Anquan Bolden just jogged out because he's hurt, and then Leinart had nowhere to throw the ball.
A loss of 10 on the sack. 2nd and 20 now. Bolden and Fitzgerald again split wide. The dump down pass is caught by J.J. Arrington. That gets some of the yardage back. Now, the biggest enemy for the Cardinals is just the time remaining on the clock this afternoon. And Denny Green has spent a timeout with 4 minutes remaining.
You know, when we talked to Denny Green yesterday, I got the sense from talking to him that he felt like he was not going to be back next year. He talked about the young guys and how great of a future they have. You know, he never said he never said what we're going to do next year in terms of, you know, trying to improve this team. And we asked him those questions, but everything was you know, about they've got some young guys here and they should have a very positive future. And, you know, just didn't get the sense that he thought he was going to be part of that.
Yeah, he was almost speaking in a post-mortem capacity yesterday.
And also we asked him about himself, and he said, you know, he's disappointed that he didn't win more games, that he didn't do a better job. And when you start talking like that, it's like you already know that the end is coming.
3rd and 19, perhaps 3rd and game here for Arizona. Leonard looking into the end zone and has to settle for the short completion to Larry Fitzgerald. So Larry Fitzgerald now goes over 100 receiving yards for the afternoon.
And the one thing that they haven't done this second half is give Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden a chance to make a play down the field. And Matt Leinart said that he's got to get used to that. He's going to throw it into coverage some for those guys, give those guys an opportunity to make a play because that's what they do. So you've got to give them a chance.
4th and 13 and most definitely 4th and game.
There's Bolden in single coverage up top.
Leinert's got the pass rush in his face into the corner of the end zone. Jump ball incomplete. Kevin Williams chased him out of the pocket, and Leinart had no opportunities down the field. Good coverage by Antoine Winfield, and the Minnesota defense holds with time ticking.
Yeah, it's tough to give those guys a chance on 4th down because everybody knows that you're throwing the ball down there. He's going to get pressure. He's going to buy some time with his feet. And he's done a good job of this all day. But again, on 4th down, everybody in the stadium knows you got to throw the ball in the end zone. So now they've got Bolden double covered down there. You see they've got him guys short. They've got Sharper deep. And, you know, the ball is still thrown out of bounds.
Chester Taylor still in there for Minnesota as he gets maybe a yard before being wrapped up by Chike O'Keefer.
I don't understand that, Matt. Get Brad Johnson out of there. Get Chester Taylor out of there. Get your backup guys in there to finish out this last 3 minutes.
Tuesday at 9/8 Central, watch the Emmy Award-winning smash hit House, all new at its new time. Tuesday, 9/8 Central, right here only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. Arizona has spent its final timeout. Another frustrating afternoon, certainly for Edger and James. 4 carries, 15 yards. As you know, it's not just a season-long problem. I mean, you've got to call this lack of a running game an administration-long problem for Denny Green and his staff.
No question. It makes no sense to go out and get a big, high-priced running back when nobody up front can block for him. Got to spend that money on an offensive line, and that's what's killed the Cardinals for the last few years.
Time continues to roll. Again, it's Chester Taylor on the carry. Well, Matt Leinart this afternoon has passed for his first career 300-yard game. However, 4 turnovers really nipped any would-be upset in the bud for Arizona this afternoon.
Yeah, and I knew it was going to be tough for Matt Leinart because anytime you come in with the game plan that's one-dimensional, we said they didn't even try to run the ball. Only 5 rushing attempts with a rookie quarterback who's struggling anyway. It's going to be tough. And even though he threw for a lot of yards, the production wasn't, he didn't get in the end zone. 0 touchdowns.
We mentioned how the last time the Cardinals won in Minnesota, we've got to go back to 1977 when the Don Coryell coached St. Louis Cardinals defeated Fran Tarkenton, Chuck Foreman and company.
Back in the day.
It's going to be a little bit longer still. 2-minute warning at the Metrodome. The 7-3 Patriots bounced back nicely last weekend, shutting out Green Bay after back-to-back losses for the first time in quite a while. And again, they host Chicago in the second game of our doubleheader coming up right after the Vikings and Cardinals here on Fox. And we've got a flag before the punt of Chris Pluie.
false start, offense, number 27. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Roniel Whitaker charged with the special teams false start. The 16th penalty of the afternoon. So much of that has come on special teams as well. Troy Walters fumbles the punt return. Gets it back and is tackled at the 47-yard line.
You know, that late game could be a preview of the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Bears playing well. Tom Brady, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. They've got those 2 running backs out there, Lawrence Maroney and Corey Dillon, of course, still running the ball hard. Maroney just running through people, around people and everything. They still play a lot of defense also out there. Eddie Bruschi, Junior Seau has come in and really given them a presence inside. And I tell you, those Patriots, you can't ever count those guys out.
Yeah, one of the best matchups of the year coming up as a late game of our doubleheader today. Leinert in the air on 1st and 10 and just out of reach. Troy Walters an opportunity with a deep ball. You know, some have suggested that the back-to-back midseason losses handed to New England at home may have been the best thing to have happened to them this year to get them right for the rest of the schedule and into the playoffs.
That's right. They haven't experienced a lot of losses, period, over the last few years. And sometimes you get a little lax and you need a wake-up call. And when you lose, especially back-to-back at home, it might be just what the doctor ordered for those guys.
Well, they're playing on the new turf today. They'll christen that for the first time in Foxborough. Broken up, intended for Bryant Johnson. Pretty good coverage once again by the rookie corner Cedric Griffin, who, making the start for Fred Smoot, has had a fine afternoon.
Yeah, good heads-up play. Not only did he break that ball up, but almost still had enough sense and presence to try to intercept that ball, even though he was falling out of bounds.
You know that the Bears are kings of the NFC North, and for quite some time, New England can say the same of the AFC East. 6-5 Jets. The Jets were winners today at home over Houston. Trying to catch New England if you're wearing that green Jets uniform, that might be a tough order.
Yeah, if the Bears can get that win, though, they're just one game away.
You know, you called the 49ers one of the surprising teams in the NFC this year. You gotta say that the Jets at 6-5 have surprised a lot of people.
Oh, no question. They really have. Mangini out there. Got those guys going. No Curtis Martin. And no one really expected them to do anything.
4th and 10. Here comes Udeza. And the pass is caught by Larry Fitzgerald. Well, the glass half full Cardinal fan will look once again to another impressive afternoon by their great receiving duo of Fitzgerald and Bolden. Each of them well over 100 receiving yards. But, you know, you dig a little deeper into the numbers, and that's where you get a bit frustrated. So 1st and 10, Leinert out of the shotgun with 1:24 remaining. Another jump ball into the corner of the end zone, and there's Larry Fitzgerald once again.
And that's what I'm talking about throwing it into coverage. Give those guys a chance to go up and make a play. They're big, strong guys. They're not going to run away from guys. So you got to give them a chance, and they constantly tell Matt Leinert, just throw it up and I'll go get it. See, Larry Fitzgerald, he's not covered. He's not open here. He's covered. Cedric Griffin all over him, but he just goes up. Great body control, comes down inbounds again. You got to give those guys an opportunity. Most quarterbacks won't throw those kind of balls because they see coverage down there. But with Bolden and Fitzgerald, you have to throw it into coverage. Give those guys a chance to jump over those smaller corners.
A season high 152 receiving yards for Larry Fitzgerald today. So on first down, Leinart looking directly into the back of the end zone and overthrowing Brian Johnson. You know, something that really remains true when you talk about Leinart developing as a quarterback and Fitzgerald still frankly developing as a target is that the two of these guys have not been on the field a lot this year together.
Right. And Fitzgerald was, when Matt started playing, Fitzgerald was out with an injury, and when Fitzgerald was healthy early in the season, Matt wasn't playing. So they haven't had a lot of time to work together, but Bolden and Fitzgerald, they always talk to Matt about what routes they like, and they just always tell him, give us a shot, throw it up.
On 3rd and goal now. They tried to swing it out to Bolden. Incomplete. A lot of pressure on the rookie signal caller Matt Leinart this afternoon. You know, remember, Matt Leinart was not supposed to be handed the keys to this job as early as he has.
And look at the tough job he had today. Only 5 rushes. He's thrown the ball 46 times. And he's done a good job. 366 yards. He's only thrown 1 interception. They just haven't been able to make the big play and get the guys into the end zone.
It's all on him, too. And Matt Nuda coming into the afternoon.
I think he's done admirable for a rookie.
No question. Pass is caught at the goal line by Anquan Bolden. And a touchdown. They say that Bolden midair was across the plane of the goal line. Touchdown Cardinals.
And talking about Matt Leinart, he made that play. He pumped to hold the safety inside, and then he came back to the outside where Anquan Bolden was for the completion and the touchdown.
So again, the Cardinals will line up for 2.
On the replay, you see Bolden out here. He's just going to come and curl up. But Matt Leinart, with those pumps inside, he held Antoine Winfield, the nickel, so that he couldn't get back under Bolden outside.
Earlier this half, the Cardinals tried their first 2-point conversion of the season and were denied. We got a timeout on the field, and it's under booth review now to see whether or not Bolden actually crossed the plane of the goal line. Inside the final 2 minutes, and again, the review has to come from upstairs.
And his feet are in, but when he actually has control of the ball, is he in the end zone? Did he break the plane and then get pushed back by Sharper and Smoot? It's hard to see from that angle, but it looks like he's across the goal line and just got pushed back, and it's not where he fell down. Right there, he's got control, and there's the plane of the end zone. That's a touchdown. And now he's pushed back out of the end zone by Smoot and Sharper, but that doesn't matter. He had possession and he broke the plane of the end zone.
Well, of all the unlikely scenarios, regardless, if this thing counts, if they call it a touchdown, you've got a special teams play. And even if the Cardinals don't convert on the 2-point attempt here, they can get the ball back here with under a minute left.
And stranger things have happened.
Absolutely they have. Whatever you say, I'm not disagreeing with you ever.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field will stand. Touchdown.
Touchdown Arizona.
And that's why here, it doesn't matter if you go for 1 or 2. You're still going to have to score a touchdown either way it goes.
Right. It was that first missed 2-point conversion that put them in this predicament. It would take something just short of miraculous for Arizona to not only score, but even to get the ball back after this. As the Rackers PAT is up and good. 31-26 Minnesota with 39 seconds left on the game clock today. Again, we remind you to stay with us here on Fox. The Patriots and Bears are coming up immediately following our contest here at the Metrodome. Guys getting ready to close the shades. Drop the curtain on this thing.
Yeah, not so fast, though. I've seen crazier things happen. An onside kick recovery in 39 seconds, still a lot of time, especially when you got those two big guys outside that can go up and make a play for you. This is huge.
So when you're on the receiving team and you're looking for the onside kick, they got the hands team on the field. You've been in situations like this before?
Yeah, I have. I actually was on the hands team, and if you don't recover, if they don't kick it right to you, you want to knock that ball out of bounds because it's still your ball. What you don't want to do is have that ball bouncing around and everybody's trying to catch it, and now nobody controls it, and now it's a free ball. If it comes to the outside guys, if it's kicked out here, their job is to knock that ball out of bounds. Just swat it out of bounds.
New NFL rule regarding onside kicks that the kicking team cannot load up one side of the line.
You got to have at least 4 guys on either side of the ball.
And now the Vikings have spent the timeout.
Right here, that's what they're talking about right there. The special teams coaches got to be aware, not only on this side, but like you said, with the new rules, you've got 4 guys on the other side of the ball, so you can't just focus on one side. You got to play both sides of the field, and what a lot of teams do is they'll start the kicker one way, and he'll just kind of try to boot the ball the opposite direction, see if they can catch somebody sleeping. So the Vikings wanted to take that timeout and make sure everybody up front was awake and expecting the ball to come to him.
The Cardinals have not attempted an onside kick this year. Yeah, we saw this come into play yesterday in that big college matchup between USC and Notre Dame. Vikings special teams coach Paul Ferraro has been frustrated for most of the afternoon.
What you want to do is pound the ball in the ground and get a high bounce.
High bounce, all right. Ball's free, and the Cardinals recover.
Perfect kick. You want to pound that ball, drive it into the ground, and get that high bounce. Allow your receivers, guys covering the ball, to get down the field, and it's exactly what they did. A great kick by Neil Rackers.
Darrell Blackstock makes the recovery for Arizona.
Watch how high this ball goes in the air. Lets all their guys get down the field. That ball's bouncing around, and they recover it. And it only took 1 second off the clock.
Offside, receiving team number 12. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of where the run was recovered. First down.
And adding insult to injury.
There were 4 men on each side of the kicker.
They get Billy McMullen for an offsides penalty. So they've spotted the ball at the Arizona 44-yard line. And the Cardinals offense is in a rather unlikely position to pull off some late heroics here on the road this afternoon. I know they talked about that Bears game being a potential signature game for Matt Leinart. They lost that game. This one has the potential to be Leinart's signature game in his rookie year.
And again, going back to that onside kick, the kick was so good and so high in the air. Look at all the Cardinals guys. They're 15 yards down the field before that ball comes down. It only has to go 10 yards. That's why they're able to knock that ball loose and recover that football. Just a fantastic kick. That's training film. We used to call stuff like that. That's training film on how to kick the ball.
Now bear in mind, Arizona is out of timeouts. 38 seconds left. They need to get into the end zone here, down by 5.
What you do here is you run some deep outs, try to make the catch and get out of bounds, get about 15, 20 yards, get the clock stopped.
Leinart into the corner, intended for Anquan Bolden, and thrown out of bounds. Cedric Griffin had the coverage for Minnesota.
They just weren't on the same page there. Bolden just runs a go route, and Leinart throws the ball out of bounds. You're going to throw it down there, you got to give the guy a chance. Keep the ball in play.
Second and 10, Leinart out of the shotgun again. Larry Fitzgerald is there. Complete at the 36 with time ticking.
You got to hurry up. Got to get to the line.
A 20-yard pickup and now an injury timeout. Fred Smoot is the injured player.
And that's big for a couple of reasons. Number one, the clock stops. It allows Arizona to catch their breath, call some plays, but it's also Fred Smoot, their cornerback. So now they've got to bring a backup guy that hasn't been playing a lot in at that right corner spot. You've got to go at him. So that's kind of a double whammy there for the Vikings. Charles Gordon in for Smoot. You got to go after him. You got to go after him. He's a rookie from the University of Kansas, a smaller guy. Now you've got those big wide receivers. You got to go after him. They put Anquan Bolden on him.
Bolden is in an enormous game.
There's Anquan Bolden.
As has Fitzgerald.
Better give him some help.
Leinart over 400 passing yards this afternoon. For Fitzgerald again. And he does not hang on. Pass is incomplete. Fitzgerald is hoping for a call.
Wow. That's why you throw it up there, though. That's why you give those guys a chance, because every time they do that, this guy's going to make a play. Even though he comes down out of bounds. Look at him. He goes up over Cedric Griffin, makes the catch. He comes down out of bounds, but that's why you got to give those guys a chance to make a play for you. You do that early in the game, who knows? Maybe they wouldn't be in this position right now.
10 seconds of game clock left.
Now they put Fitzgerald up here on the rookie.
They pick up Udeza. Leinart into the end zone for Bolden. Batted around, incomplete. 2 seconds remain. And Larry Fitzgerald Sr. is unconcerned with the partisanship in the press box at this moment in his life.
There's no cheering, there's no standing in the press box, but when it's your son on the field, it's awful tough to do.
So the Vikings will have just a 4-man front here, everybody deep, as Matt Leinart looks for his version of the Boston College Hail Mary. Will it be Flutie to Phelan? Not today. Intercepted by Dwight Smith, officially his second pick of the afternoon. Minnesota hangs on. They end their 4-game losing streak and even their home record to 3-3. For J.C. Pearson, this is Matt Vasgersian saying so long for Minnesota, where the Vikings have won 31-26. Stay tuned for the second game of our Fox doubleheader coming up next.